So, with another season of Rick and Morty, there's always another wave of YouTube theory videos dissecting everything about the show. They discuss the enigmatic new characters and their backstory, or random gags. People get obsessed with all the tiny details, and with what everything means for the story and how the characters will develop going forward. No offense, but it's all a waste of time. Okay guys, let's all admit this to ourselves despite what we'd like to believe. Rick and Morty has no grand overarching story or plot. It has no tale it wants to tell. It's just a meme. The creators themselves criticize serialization and keep breaking the fourth wall in the show by having the characters know it's a TV show, precisely to maximize its real intended purpose as a vehicle for exploring random clever ideas or making viral marketable memes. 90% of these characters aren't really characters. Half of them aren't even caricatures. They're the equivalent of meme mojacks, but with a higher budget. You want proof? How many times did we accompany our main characters on their adventures, only to realize these were not our main characters, but only a false version of them within a self-contained story, which then gets destroyed and ignored so we can follow the main characters again? Also, how many episodes were just spent showing a bunch of random clips with fun ideas explored for over 30 seconds each, only to have no progression at all with the characters or the story? Little mechanisms like this that the authors employ are meant to work simply as a more effective means to achieve the true purpose of the show. Explore clever one-off ideas in the hopes that a few will stick as something marketable or viral. It's not meant to tell a story with substance and characters. Nothing in the show is meant to tell a story with true substance and characters with any stake to what happens in the plot. They literally tell us this in the train episode.
It's not a real train, it's a story device. Literally. A literal, literary device, quite literally, metaphorically containing us. You did the most important thing. You bought something.
What?
God, I love money so much, Morty.
Are you being sarcastic?
Merchandise, Morty. Your only purpose in life is to buy and consume merchandise, and you did it.
The train represents the storytelling narrative of Rick and Morty as a show, but it ends with the train derailed and Rick telling the audience to buy Rick and Morty merchandise. They're telling us this to our faces, man. They're not hiding their true intentions, but people keep ignoring the truth. Besides selling merchandise, another important purpose of the show is to explore popular tropes and archetypes, and yes, make memes via the Rick and Morty formula. This whole show is basically the intro, a random collection of zany scenarios, but this time with dialogue. So there is no point in theorizing about the significance of a mysterious new character that arrived on the scene. And there's also no point in contemplating about Rick's redemption arc or whatever. It's all just a meme, or mostly anyway. It's all meant to show up, be funny, viralize in the pop culture, to sell stuff, and then disappear forever before they pump out the next meme. Oh, what did the talking cat really show them? Who cares? It's all meant to stick to the popular imagination. What about Bird Person and Tammy or the galactic government? Look, man, Tammy's tendency to keep reappearing was itself ridiculized by Justin Roiland, who was literally taking the piss at us, who keep expecting something greater to happen in the story. And Bird Person is meant to keep reappearing to form larger, more complex memes.
Morty, do you know what wubba lubba dub dub means? In my people's tongue, it means, I am in great pain. Please help me.
And this then gives the illusion of a greater plot. But what Bird Person means for Rick hardly matters, so it's hardly explored. And in fact, if it was, it might be a problem because too much character development for Rick might make the character shift away from his successful formula. Just answer me this. Would Rick keep taking Morty on zany, dangerous adventures if he suddenly became a mature adult who cared about his grandson's well-being?
Why do you keep doing this to us? I don't know, Morty. Maybe I hate myself. Maybe I think I deserve to die. I don't know.
No. So why would Dan and Justin risk changing Rick into a fulfilled person who cares about his family in an American suburb? I mean, what the hell is this? The Simpsons? And the galactic government? Or the Citadel of Ricks? I know these things are introduced as menacing and major factions of antagonists that are going to have an effect in the grand narrative, but they actually end up fulfilling no narrative purpose other than to serve as a foil to make memes or commentary or jokes about the American government.
He who controls the pants controls the galaxy!
When they're not using the actual American government to make memes and jokes about it.
I'm protecting my country from subordination to hostile powers.
Does China know about that deal breaker?
China doesn't piss on the White House.
Well, why would they? I'm sure it was expensive.
But what about Evil Morty? Clearly the creators have a plan for his character that will have significance to the saga of Rick and Morty, right? Heh, no. They have a plan for Evil Morty, alright, and I'll tell you what that is. To make him a meme, an archetype, to spawn other memes over time. It's just like their plan for Rick himself. If there is a conclusion to Evil Morty and his story, it'll be in a way that satirizes something relevant to society at the time. Just like how his last appearance was in the beginning of a White House administration run by a political outsider no one believed would win, only to take the highest office of his country by storm. See the parallels? Evil Morty is not his own character. He's a reflection of what the writers want to talk about and want to satirize. The next appearance of Evil Morty will be in that style. He's not a character. He's a vehicle for commentary. There is no narrative substance to any of this. Though there might be comedic or even philosophical substance to these jokes. Some of them are actually extremely funny. But it's not part of a grand narrative. Like I said, there is no greater purpose to this show, and they tell you that to your face. But you keep believing in something more, because you're human, and you want a greater meaning to what you're observing. But these guys are playing with nihilism in an increasingly suicidal culture that doesn't care about its own existence. As a result, they prod and poke and make viral stuff with no greater purpose than to make you laugh, squeeze money out of you, then spend that money on their lifestyles. There's only one way I see these guys actually ending up changing course and making an actual story. If they spend years working on the show, and they get older, and then they realize, oh shit, I spent my life on a meaningless project to finance my VR erotica premium account. I'll be driven insane by the meaninglessness of my life's work if I don't make it all lead up to something now. And then they'll, I don't know, half-ass something at the conclusion.
What's wrong, Rick? Don't you want to see how your story ends? Holy shit, Rick!
However, as of right now, Rick and Morty is ridiculing our streaming Netflix binge-watching habit. They are satirizing our expectations for cinematic universes, or for great epic TV shows, or for endless sequels, or for an actual meaningful narrative. That's part of the joke with this show. You follow characters in a story, you think it'll matter, but then it doesn't. That's the joke. In our era, every story is a grand narrative that builds up to something, but Rick and Morty does not. In part, this is because Rick and Morty is the evolution of the Simpsons-style television formula for old cable TV. It's episodic and formulaic and meant to get laughs and then sell random garbage. But also because this reflects the nihilistic tendencies of the showrunners.
Nobody exists on purpose. Nobody belongs anywhere. Everybody's gonna die. Come watch TV.
Come watch TV.
And that's pretty much it. There's little else, man. Sorry to break it to you. There is no grand theory to be made, because there is no design to decipher. There is no meaning to it, and there is no substance. It's just a meme, bro. And the hint of an epic story? It's just a prank. That's it. Now, after saying all this, you guys might assume I hate the show, right? Actually, I don't. I think it's hilarious, and my point with this video is that I actually appreciate Rick and Morty for what it really is. A show that makes funny but extremely short reflections, jokes, and parodies about everything in mass culture, jumping from topic to topic with no discernible direction or connection. Like a Facebook timeline and social media, but in a TV show format. This is what comedy animated shows become in the age of social media. And a multiverse setting is perfect for this because it allows the show to go from fantasy tropes to sci-fi to general social commentary in the span of 3 to 5 minutes. A multiverse makes the setting as erratic and random as social media. And that's one of the reasons why it's so addictive, because social media is addictive. This obsession with exploring as many different tropes and scenarios superficially is exactly what the show did with the clone Beth thing. They turned Beth into 2 versions of herself so that they could explore the badass female version of Rick while still having the suburban family formula, but then they don't tell you which is a clone to avoid having to explore Beth actually developing as a character? Did she learn to love her family? Did she choose to carve out her own destiny? We don't know, because we're not supposed to know. Because it doesn't matter what a character chooses. Because they're cutouts, man. They have no agency. They're nothing but Wojaks. All this is perfectly encapsulated with Pickle Rick! Pickle Rick is the epitome of what the show is. Random, funny, but a one-off thing, never to be revisited, elaborated, or talked about again. It's always funny to me how so many fans, most in fact, don't get it. They're always waiting for something to happen to move the perceived plot forward, or to have the characters developed in their story arcs. Or they keep waiting for other established characters to show up again to continue established character dynamics. Planetina and Coffee Girl are great examples of this. People keep expecting them to come back or even just have a lasting effect on Morty, but it won't happen. Both these characters formed a romantic bond with Morty, right? Coffee Girl had a particularly touching and strong romance with him, but it didn't change anything in the show. Morty still simps for Jessica, and he didn't seem to change much from this life-changing experience. And even the creators themselves forgot that this was technically a milestone for the Morty character, as he goes through heartbreak for the first time. But later, they forget that, and they think that his first heartbreak experience is with Planetina.
Morty getting his heart broken for the first time.
This itself shows that the creators don't seem to care about the story of the characters, because it's not about the story. Morty going through these romances was just an excuse for really clever gags about whatever the writers were thinking about at the time.
They said kind of go nuts, and I read that book Alive in middle school. It may have traumatized me as a kid.
With stuff like this, do you really think Nimbus will amount to anything? If he shows up again, man, it'll probably be in 2 seasons for 1 episode, and when they think about something funny that they can explore with him. But I mean, come on, he's just a meme, a parody of the archetypal comic nemesis that has a tragic backstory with the main character. He's just satire on actual story beats and characters on other shows and other franchises. Nimbus himself is not actually anything meaningful here. He's a joke, a gag, made on actual characters. He's a reflection of pop culture, and he's just as illusory as what that implies. The things that Nimbus is reflecting have real meaningful character arcs in their respective franchises, but Nimbus himself is just a joke. And all this is fine. I'm not saying that this makes Rick and Morty garbage. I enjoy it for what it is, man, even though others seem to be getting bored with it. And it might be too soon to call, but right now, the audience score on Rotten Tomatoes doesn't look too good for the new season, and great YouTubers whom I respect are starting to say stuff like this.
It's just that it all felt so incredibly weightless.
And I think that sentiments like these are derived from expecting more from Rick and Morty than what it's willing to offer. It's a nihilistic show about sci-fi parodies and jokes on pop culture and farts and whatever. And this is using the mimetic formula. What is a mimetic formula? What is a meme, right? But a template for representing something superficially, and that's what Rick and Morty is. This is what a meme is. A template for random parody, and it's all you should expect for Rick and Morty. Stop theorizing, my friends. There's nothing here for you to theorize about. And I'm sorry to break it to you guys, I really am, but it's not all doom and gloom. I mean, you guys want a real sci-fi comedy show with substance and a story? Well, there's a couple options actually. You have Futurama, right? It's a formulaic and episodic, sure, but the characters do change in their relationships over time, which indicates a greater narrative with an ultimate purpose. Unlike in Rick and Morty, where characters divorce for a season and get back together to where they started. However, if you're looking for substance and character development and emotion in an epic sci-fi comedy setting, and with plenty to theorize about, then the real epic sci-fi comedy for you is Final Frickin' Space, man! Hey-o!
Something big is happening, and I'm not waiting while Command sits around twiddling their wieners.
You are not the captain. You are a prisoner aboard this ship. The Earth will be consumed.
You were right about everything.
Hello, Mooncake. I've been looking all over for you.
You're no hero. The war for your universe has begun. Our journey leads to final space.
My first high five, and it was a threesome.
I can't believe it! Look, back in the race! You lost the Earth! He's eating me alive!
Catastrophic failures reporting on all systems.
You will lose, Carrie.
We're not getting out. I'm sorry.
Run now, while you still have time!
We are alone, Gary.
The stars will fall dark because of you. You will be the death of everything.
I've heard the cries of this galaxy. They yearn for a savior.
It's back to back. For life.
Oh man, this show has everything, man. Final Space is a definitive space comedy people think that Rick and Morty is. You'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll scream, you'll feel everything, man. Also, it was created by Olin Rogers, who started out as a YouTuber, which is an added bonus, you know, to see a YouTuber get successful. It makes you kind of wonder if that could be you one day. But anyway, Final Space is fantastic. It's fantastic, man. I haven't finished the 3rd season yet, but you bet I will. Though Final Space gets some just criticism, like how the main character Gary is occasionally annoying, but so is Morty, man, and no one seems to care, so I don't know why they complain about Gary.
I'm gonna keep stammering until you find them.
I hate that guy.
See what I mean? But yeah, to reiterate, my point is not that Rick and Morty is crap. It's that it's a different kind of comedy show than what people seem to be expecting. And if they keep expecting something more than what it's willing to offer, then they're gonna get bored and they're gonna get mad and frustrated with the show. And just accept for what it is, man. And if you don't like random stuff and random humor with no epic story, then go somewhere else. Anyway, after all this was said, what do you guys think? Am I wrong? Let me know that in the comments. Is Rick and Morty in fact just a meme? No more than the Wojaks on social media but with a budget? Or am I missing something? I'm perfectly willing to change my mind on this issue. If someone makes a cracking point down in the comment section, I'm willing to change my mind. I'm not very stubborn in my mindset, and I like to think that I listen to reason. Also, if you like the content, please like and subscribe, man. This is a tiny channel, and it really needs your support. Anyway, peace out.